Welcome back to Wolf Hunter's Armory. Today is going to be the last 22 caliber pistol that I have for you, or the last 22 caliber firearm that I have. This is the fourth one that I have, and it will be the last one we'll go through. It is empty, has been cleared. Now, interesting thing about this is the Taurus PT22. This is the polymer version. They have a metal frame version, and then they have the polymer frame. This is the only one that I could find. I've been wanting one of these for a while. Years and years ago, I had the Beretta 21A Bobcat, which is pretty much the same thing as this, but they are ridiculously expensive right now. So this one, I saw one in the shop. It was pretty cheap, brand new. I think these are going for roughly $250 to $290. I picked this one up for $150. It was used, but very lightly used. The guy took it out to the range one time, the story that I got anyway. He took it home, tried to clean it, and then it never worked again. Next time he took it out to the range, it kept jamming. He couldn't fit all the rounds in it. Well, what happened was, with this right here, you can see there's a little pin in there that holds the follower in there, and you can actually grab that and help with loading. That holds 8 rounds. But what he had done is he took the magazine apart to oil it, and he put the spring in backwards. Well, that caused the follower in there, instead of sitting flat like it is, was actually angled way up like this, and it would get jammed. There's a little tail inside there, if you can see that right there. That sits up against this back edge, and it also prevents you from overloading. It bottoms out against the base plate there to let you know when you are full of ammo. So what had happened with that, he put the spring in backwards, and that little tail was getting jammed. It was also trying to push that little pin outside of the little slot here. So he screwed it up. The guy in the shop didn't know what was wrong with it. He gave it to me. He sold it to me at a discount. I think they had $179 on it. I ended up getting it for like $150 because he said I would need to get a new magazine. They couldn't figure out what the problem was. I knew what the problem was. I took it home, fixed it. No problems with it. Got a couple hundred rounds through it. No issues whatsoever. Interesting thing about this, just like the 21A Bobcat, that this is basically modeled after. It does work slightly differently than the Beretta Bobcat, is this is a tip-up barrel. So once you fill your magazine and put your magazine in, helps if it goes in the right way. To actually load it, you do not actually rack it back. You could, but it is very, very stiff, and I'll show you why in just a second. With this one, you have this lever here that actually pops up the barrel. So once your loaded magazine is in, you take a single round, drop it in, close it down, and you're ready to go. This was basically designed for people with weaker hands that couldn't rack a slide. So you tip the barrel up, drop one in, close it down, and you're ready to go. Now, all of that is well and good, except for one thing that I found. I have an aunt that has really bad arthritis. She actually has a hard time pulling this very, very heavy trigger. Trigger is very, very heavy. It gets about there. It actually gets a lot heavier because you can see the little spurless hammer there. It is double action only, so it's very, very hard, and I'm not going to dry fire it because I don't want to damage anything in there. Other interesting thing about this is it's extremely, extremely simple. The takedown on this is very easy. Pop the barrel up. This does have a magazine disconnect, so without the magazine, you cannot fire the gun. But to make disassembly a little easier, pull the trigger back as far as it'll go. Then you can push this up and right off. And that's it. That's complete disassembly of this for cleaning. Get everything in frame there. Now, there is no recoil spring on this like a traditional pistol. Your recoil spring is actually built into the frame, and you have this little tab here and that little tab right there, and then the spring goes down into the frame. So putting it back together, same thing. You want to get this right here lined up, pull the trigger just a little bit, get it down, push everything down, it's back together. That's it. Simple as that. Very, very good shooting little gun. It's made for up close and personal, get away from me type situations. You're not going to win any kind of competition shooting with it. It isn't extremely accurate. Out to about 7 yards is about as accurate as you're going to get. This is a very, very short barrel. And I don't know why manufacturers measure the barrel from end to end. I don't consider that the barrel. To me, the barrel begins where the round stops. So if the 22 extends out to here, you only have this much barrel. But manufacturers will measure the barrel from the breech face to the end of the muzzle. I just don't think that's quite fair. Especially with the 22, your rim would sit here, but the bullet goes down to about here. It goes almost halfway into the barrel. So you have maybe, sorry, bump the camera there, you have like 1.25 inch barrel. That's all you honestly really get. And yeah, whatever. But they say it's like a 2-inch barrel on it, whatever. But it is a fun little gun. It does have a little safety, which to me is completely unnecessary because of the super heavy trigger pull. And I don't have any spent rounds to put one in to actually show the trigger pull. And again, I don't want to dry fire this because firing pin hitting the breech face on a rim fire, it can damage either the breech face or the firing pin. I don't want to damage this. It is cheap, but I do use it out on the range, letting people shoot it because it's very low recoil. And it's good to get them used to something if they're not used to shooting yet. Just like the Phoenix that I have is good for them to learn, you know, basic handling with something that's a lot easier to manage. So I just figured I would bring you this today. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.